Hi, welcome to Miss Annette's Little Farm in the Big City, a place where you and I and your family can reconnect. Today on the Little Farm, we're going to reconnect with our food by talking about honeybees in winter. The bee hive is pretty quiet this time of year, but that doesn't mean there's not a whole lot of activity going on inside the hive. As a matter of fact, the bees prepare for winter long before we're even thinking about it. As soon as spring gets here and the temperature is above 50 degrees Fahrenheit, the bees that survived the previous winter begin working on the next winter. They clean the hive and start looking for food to nourish the queen. And the queen starts laying eggs to replenish the bee colony. The bees work hard all summer long. They're replenishing the honey stores and they're helping the queen with her new brood. All of this in preparation for winter. Then fall shows up and things start changing a little bit in the beehive. A good beekeeper checks on the hive quite often, and in the fall it's just as important to check on your hive. You check for bugs, check for mites, check to see that the queen is still in there. You check to see that if there isn't enough honey, that you put some extra sugar water out for them. You kind of keep an eye on your bees as well, helping them along in the wintertime. In the fall, it's good practice not to take more honey than you need, making sure that the bees have plenty. Once late fall gets here, they kick all the drones out. Now the drones are the boy bees, and the boy bees they don't really do too much. They don't gather honey, they don't gather water, they don't really have any other job other than to hang out with the queen and fertilize her eggs. So once the queen stops laying in the late fall, there's no need to have a drone. Also in the late fall, the eggs that the queen does have get fed a special diet. A diet with a lot less protein than the summer bees, because they're going to be the winter bees. And winter bees can live 4 months compared to a regular bee that can only live 4 to 6 weeks. And this is because these bees are going to have to survive the winter, and they're going to be really sturdy. They have bigger abdomens, and they have a really big job ahead of them. Because once they get in the hive in the wintertime, and the winter gets here, there's a lot going on inside the hive. As a matter of fact, from the very beginning to the very end of a bee's life, their number one priority is taking care of the queen. Now that the bees have worked hard all year long, it's wintertime, and now the bees have stored their honey. They need about 60 to 80 pounds of honey to get through the winter. So they've stored their honey, they've gotten rid of the drones, and now their number one job is to take care of the queen. So what do? They cluster around the queen to keep her warm. Now she's going to be in the middle of the cluster, and all the other bees are going to be on the top of her, like this. They're not going to smash her, they're just clustered around her, keeping her warm. And they're keeping her warm by vibrating and making a lot of movement. Now, the middle of the cluster, where the queen is, it can get up to 90 degrees Fahrenheit, and the outside can get up to 50 degrees Fahrenheit, which is pretty incredible when you get below zero temperatures out here, and you can see there's no heating units or anything other than little bees, and they're vibrating, keeping things warm. So that means they have to use a lot of energy, and they have to use a lot of food. And that's why they need 60 to 80 pounds of honey to survive the winter. So as they are clustered like this, then they take turns. Kind of like the March of the Penguins, how the penguins are in a circle, and then the penguins in the center move out, and the ones move in. Well, the bees kind of do that too. As they're clustered, if it's a nice day outside and the temperature's decent, they can move their cluster to another part of the hive where there's more food. because naturally, if they're staying in one spot all winter, they're going to be eating all that food in that one spot. So the cluster will have to move around inside of the hive. The bees are not going to come out unless it's 45 to 50 degrees outside. And once they come outside, they're going to come outside to do two things: to remove their dead and to use the restroom. There's a couple of things that I did to help the bees during the winter. I covered the beehive with black plastic because black absorbs the heat from the sun, and I was really worried because we had some really low temperatures. And then I also put a wicking quilt inside on the top, and I can't show it to you because it's all sealed up. But I did a couple of things to help the bees along as well. And you can see the dead little summer bees. And I'm bringing them out. And this little bee, she's still alive. Hi, sweetie, you better get inside. It's cold out here. She's sunning herself. The honeybee's been around for a long time, about 150 million years. It's pretty amazing, isn't it? But it's not really surprising to think about that because they work so well together, the bees do. They have this sense of community where they're all watching out for each other and for the queen, and everybody pulls their own weight. There's a lot to be learned from the little honeybee, isn't there? So much to learn, so much to share. I'm so glad that you're here to share it with me. Thank you for visiting Miss Annette's little farm in the big city. Make sure you get outside today, all right? It's a beautiful day. And we'll see you next time. Bye!